Hey guys, it's Jordan with your weekly refuge video. As always, I hope you're doing very well. Last week, we did a one-off on arguments in this I Have Questions series. Well, we're going to do a part 2 to that, and we're going to talk specifically about words. I was having one of those moments watching the news the other day, looking at headlines, and you overthink and overanalyze things, and I thought, man, words are very powerful. They've got a big impact, whether it's the words of a politician, the tweets of a celebrity, comments of an athlete. I mean, headline after headline, reaction after reaction, people for it, people against it, people upset and offended, people praising it, all that kind of stuff. Maybe it's just the words someone said at school in the hallway passing by. Either way, words are a big deal. Now, ever since I was young, probably you too, we were taught this adage, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. Right? We're told that words don't hurt, but we all know they do. I remember distinctly, and this is how silly this is, I remember this. It was like 5th or 6th grade. We were in school, everyone was taking a test. I finished early, so did the other guy. So we start talking and goofing off. And one of the girls still taking the test, shh. And so, all right, whatever. We kept talking, and she gave us another shh. And we kept talking, and then finally she snapped. She's trying to pass this test and turns around and says, "Jordan, you are so annoying." And it hit me. It's like, no, I'm not, But deep down, it's like, why did that sting? Why do I remember that moment of being called annoying in front of everybody in the class? Maybe as a kid, I was called annoying by my brother and sister. Maybe I didn't want to be that. I wanted to be liked. I wanted to be cool. Either way, it's silly, but it stuck with me. Even more, my son Lincoln, sometimes I forget how new he is to the world. And so yesterday, he was being annoying. And I said, "Lincoln, you're getting on my nerves." And I looked at him and it hit him like a ton of bricks. And he looked at me and says, "Why'd you say that mean thing to me?" It's like, buddy, I'm sorry. I snapped, I'm sorry. And I explained what he was doing wasn't fun for everybody involved. But like it hit his little heart. It reminded me as I'm prepping for this sermon, words are powerful. And again, it's silly, but we all know this. We could all tell stories of things people said, and we know that it hurt because it stuck with us. We can bring it back up. And it shapes the way we think about ourselves and we see ourselves. Now, again, it's true. Words don't hurt you physically, but it doesn't mean the emotional harm they do can't be just as bad. And it's more than just the words being spoken. It's the tone, it's the body language, and the intent of somebody wanting to tear you down. That hurts, especially if it's a close relationship. That really hurts. And we all do this, though. Here's some examples I was thinking of. We cut other people down, hoping to get a few laughs. It is funny, right? And so we want to be the comedian, the life of the party, and we'll do it at the expense of others. Or you'll tell a crude joke or something like that, derogatory comments, maybe about somebody even you know, because you want to fit in with other people. Or you'll gossip and you'll say things you shouldn't about somebody who told you something in confidence or you heard it because you want to be the first to break the news. I mean, our whole media is based on this kind of stuff. And then most of us have people we look up to. Whether in real life or on a TV show or movie, who use words in a way that's probably not the healthiest or the most helpful, and we somehow give ourselves a free pass. I confess this about growing up watching that awful show, Friends. Looking back, it was so bad. But anyway, Chandler, always had the smart aleck comment. I thought that was cool and funny, so I became kind of a jerk to people with my words. Here's the deal, though. Words have hurt a lot of feelings, maybe your own. Ruined a lot of relationships, maybe your own. Destroyed reputations, like dismantled opportunities. And they've actually caused some people to think their lives are meaningless and worthless and not worth anything to anybody. I mean, words have started entire conflicts between countries. That's how powerful words are. I mean, they have the potential to do a lot of damage. All right, so I'm probably not telling you anything you don't know, but to set that up, I want to say that this isn't a new problem. Now, social media and the internet has expanded the reach of our words, But I don't think that it's any less powerful in times past, the impact you can have as people hear your word. So we're going to go to our Bibles. We're going to go to James again, like we did last week. And we're going to get some really cool insights on words and what to do about it. So remember from last week, James is the brother of Jesus. We talked about that dynamic in relationship. One of the cool things about when you read the Bible, it's 40 different authors over 1,500 years from 3 different continents. So there's a lot. It's just different books and letters all compiled into what we call the Bible. Well, the more I read it, the more I see the different personalities, because it's the inspiration of the Holy Spirit through a human author. You start to see the different personalities come out. This is so true of James. James doesn't pull any punches. And I like that, but even sometimes I'm like, James, that was a little harsh, man. Right? He just tells the truth how it is, flat out. And so this is what James is going to do in the passage we're going to look at now when it comes to words. We're in James chapter 3, verse 3. He says this: when we put bits into the mouth of a horse to make them obey us. You ever see a horse with the stuff? Yeah, it's a bit. Turns the way his head goes. It says we can turn the whole animal, a big heavy horse, we can turn it with that little thing in its mouth. Or take a big ship as an example. Although they're so large and driven by strong winds, they're steered by a very small rudder on the back of that thing, and they'll go wherever the pilot wants them to go. Everybody's tracking here, right? James is saying the smaller thing can control the larger thing. He continues, likewise, the tongue is a small part of your entire body. Consider, though, what a great forest is set on fire by a small spark. The tongue is also a fire, a world of evil among the parts of the body. It can corrupt the whole body, he says. It corrupts the whole body, sets the whole course of one's life on fire, and it itself is set on fire by hell. See what I mean about James? This isn't exactly cheery stuff and not really pulling punches here. James is not saying your tongue is evil, though. He's saying your tongue is powerful, which means your words are powerful. It can steer the entire direction of your life, like the rudder on a ship, right? It can take you places you may never want to go. And so we get it. Our words are powerful. So does James offer us any good news, any advice on what to do about it, how to fix this, what to do about the tongue? Well, not really. Again, James doesn't pull any punches. And he tells us honestly in verse 8, no one can tame the tongue. In your broken, fallen, sinful state, mine too, we can't just by sheer force of will fix the tongue. We can't. James is like the guy at a party you don't want to get stuck at talking to. He's just going to bring the mood down. I mean, he's honest, it's true, it's great and all, but man. Anyway, there is some good news. He keeps going on in the letter, and James is going to draw this dichotomy that I think is going to be really helpful. He talks about the wisdom that comes from heaven and how it's connected to humility. Now, humility doesn't mean thinking less of yourself. Oh, I stink, I'm awful. No, that's not. It's thinking of yourself less, meaning you think of others more than you think of you. James is going to say this dichotomy will change everything, including the tongue. When you think about yourself, you find things like envy and jealousy and selfishness. It's all about you. He says there's a lot of bad stuff that comes from that. So he goes on in verse 17. He says, wisdom that comes from heaven is first of all pure. Makes sense, right? He says, but then it's peace-loving. Think about that. Peace-loving. Peace is something that you have in relationships with others. So the wisdom that comes from heaven, it's peace-loving. It's considerate of others. It's submissive to the needs of others. And it's full of mercy and good fruit. I love this word mercy. I mean, the entire foundation of Christianity is based on Jesus and the love and mercy he has for us on the cross. He died for our sins when we didn't deserve it, right? We hated him. He loved us. We sinned. He was perfect, but he gave us mercy. This is such a godlike quality. And James is saying the wisdom from heaven gives you that to give to others. As you press in your relationship with God, as you're in your word, as you pray to him, as you fellowship with others, as you worship him, you'll get this wisdom from God. You'll live your life the way Jesus lived his. And you'll start to see others the way Jesus saw others. And to read it again, you'll be peace-loving. You'll be considerate to others. You'll be submissive to their needs. And you'll be full of mercy for them. Impartial and sincere, he says. You'll be a peacemaker who sow in peace and reap a harvest of righteousness. James is saying when you only look for yourself in this passage, things don't go well. But when you humble yourself, you look out for others, and you go after peace, you're going to have a life and a life full of relationships that reflect those good things. Now, this whole analogy of reaping and sowing, think of it this way. If you plant an apple seed, you're going to get an apple tree. It doesn't matter if you want oranges. It doesn't matter. Because what we planted is what you're going to reap. And words are the same way. You'll get what you plant. So remember, your words are powerful. And so what kind of words are you planting in your relationships and in your life? When your words are full of selfishness, jealousy, pride, talking down to others, seeing people as less important than you, not seeing them as worthy of value and love, you're planting disorder. You're planting unhappiness, and that's what you're going to grow. There's some old people that I know that are just miserable because they busted their relationships through planning this kind of selfishness. But if you want a different kind of life than that, if you want to grow in wisdom, peace, mercy, and kindness, you want a life that reflects those good things, you want relationships that have those good things, you have to start now by planting words that are full of those things because we grow what we plant. We want our words to be used for good. And again, it's not about taming the tongue through sheer force of will because you can't do it. I can't do it. I've tried, right? Using our words for good comes from seeing others differently, seeing others as good, seeing others as worthy. So through choosing humility and kindness, and you get that by walking with God, you see others who are people made in God's image, worthy of love, worthy of respect, worthy of kindness and mercy. When you see people this way, you're going to plant kindness and you're going to grow kindness in those relationships. And it shows up in the words you speak about each other. If you want to grow something different, you got to plant something different. We can't expect to start using our words for good if we're still seeing other people in a disrespectful, dishonoring way. If you still see yourself as more important than them. If you want your words to be used as a power for good, you need to change what you plant. Plant a view of others that's loving, that's kind. That's the way Jesus sees others, shows them you're for them. So you need to pay attention to the power of your words and plant something you're going to want to reap down the road. All right, so how are we actually supposed to do this? Well, number one, I want you to think about the person or group of people that you're likely to have some harsh words for. And ask yourself, whether it's in a joking or serious way, ask yourself this. What is it about them that makes me think it's okay to talk to them or about them this way? And then what can I do to change the way I see them so I can change my words about them? Have more kind and loving words for them. Now I want you to get really practical. Pay attention to your words. This will drive you nuts, but try to focus on the things you say. Leave a conversation and think about what you said. Or you can do this in the world of social media and text and all that. Look at your last 10 texts, direct messages, or the words you said out loud. And I want you to ask yourself, was what I said helpful or hurtful? Did I plant words that's going to help me grow into the person I want to be? Help this relationship grow into a relationship I want it to be? Did I build the other person up or tear them down? Did I reflect Jesus the way I should as a Jesus follower? If not, what could I have done differently? What could I have said that would help me grow kindness in my life and theirs? Would silence have been a better option, right? Look at your words this way. I want you to think about a few tools you have access to. Number one is time. And we're all awful at this in this current age, but you have time. So Joseph Harding, our executive pastor, he's great about this. He talks about this a lot. It's really impressed on me. When you get a text or an email and you're not quite happy with it or the tone, take some time. You've got all the time you need. Take the rest of the day. Come back to it next week if you have to. calm down, check your heart, and really think about what you should say before you respond. And I, again, quit social media mainly because you get in these debates and arguments and everything's quick, and people are coming in out of the woodwork, and nobody's using time to really think about what they're saying. It's not helpful. You can do this in person too. As you're talking to people, it doesn't have to be snap. Slow the conversation down. Time is on your side. Take all the time you need. You won't be sorry if you slowed the conversation down. You have time. Number 2, just discernment and wisdom to maybe just keep your mouth shut. Sometimes I'm in a situation and everybody's rambling and I have words that need to be said, or I feel like they do, and I can really help and speak in with my kids arguing. I have to, I'm dad, right? Speak in. But sometimes my best play is just not add more words to the mix. You have the power to just not say anything. You've got that ability. And maybe you shouldn't muddy this, whatever situation is, up with more words. It's probably not what the situation needs. So that's a very, passive, silent approach. But then I love this one. You have the ability to plant encouraging, helpful words to other people or groups. I've been doing this for the past few years. As a rule, I'm trying to, when I think a compliment, think something nice about somebody, I go and I tell them. And it's kind of awkward at first. I'll say, hey, I'm doing this thing where when I think something positive, I think I should share it and tell you. But nobody's ever upset. They walk away smiling, grateful. I planted encouragement. And they'll reciprocate. It's not why I do it, but it's amazing. When you do that to others, they do it back to you, because this is what James said would happen. All right, in closing, again, the tongue is powerful. James made that clear. But if it's powerful for destruction, it can also be powerful to bring life and all the good things God promises us. Now, if we want to make a change, we have to change just more than our words and try to brute force our tongue. We have to change the way we see the world, see ourselves, and see others. You're going to do that by spending time with Jesus. You really are. But if you can do that, you're going to plant good stuff, and you're going to reap some good stuff in your life and relationships. Now, this is important for everyone, whether you're a Jesus follower or not. Pay attention to the power of your words and what you're planning. But if you are a Jesus follower, just know this is non-negotiable. Jesus commands us to love, value, and respect others. And the first place you can do this is simply with the power of your words. In closing, I want you to imagine you did do this. Pay attention to the power of your words and use it for good. Imagine if you started to care more about what you planted. Imagine if you use your words to grow life into people and relationships. Imagine if you used your words differently than your peers and people took notice. Imagine if people knew they could turn to you and trust you to speak the truth, but do it in love. Imagine if you used your words in a way that God wanted you to bring glory to Him and good to others. Man, words are powerful, so let's be the kind of people who use them in the way God says is best. Again, for His glory, because He deserves that glory. And He's so gracious that His glory always means our good, whether in the short term or the long. So trust Him. You plant the way He says you should. You see people the way He sees people, and you won't be sorry. All right, guys, that's all I have for this week. I miss you. I hope you'll be back with us soon. Love you, and I'll talk to you soon. All right, bye.